Good morning, everyone. Lawrence Fleming here again. I was busy working yesterday and I had the post go up automatically. And we had a lot of questions, and I'm glad you guys kind of stepped up and handled some of that, because with me working, I didn't get home until dark. I didn't get a chance to really catch up on any of it. We're not allowed to have phones on sets usually, because they don't want anybody to forget to mute them and have them go off in the middle of filming. It disrupts things. Anyhow, I've noticed that people seem to be more attuned to wanting to talk. They're seeing, the world's not dumb. Satan has smart ways to get people distracted, but in general, the world's not dumb. Most people are open to talk about God and what our future has. There's a few that, are proud to be Satanists, if you will. But most people are willing to talk about it. I'm not saying that everybody's going to be saved. I'm not saying anything about that. I'm just saying that you have an opportunity to talk to people. And the worse things get, the more of an opportunity you have. I witnessed to a number of people yesterday on set. And normally they don't like you doing a whole lot of that. But we got into some, general discussions. We don't come back out and try to convert anybody on the site. That's not what you're trying to do. You're trying to present the message, give them something to think about. Even the questions that are coming in on my channel are coming from a broader range of people. If all we're doing is preaching to the choir, if we're just all Christians and everybody has it down pat and nobody has any problems, there's nothing to talk about. We've got to be able to talk about the things that are important to people. Sure, we've all got ailments that maybe we'd like to have healed. Some more than others, deserve it more than others. And we can certainly do something about that. We can pray about it, and we do. Leave your prayers here, and I'll add them to my prayer list, and then expect God to take care of them. But when it comes to those that are unsaved, they really don't know. Now, how much of the gospel have they heard through their life? We don't know. We got to feel our way through and find out what kind of a basis we get. I can tell by some of the questions what denomination people are from, because they have their standard ones. I told you about that in my video before last, I think. In any case, we just have to be ready. You don't have to have every Bible verse memorized, but you have to have a plan. Where do you come in? You set up a timeline of scriptures, and where do you come in? How much have they heard? Pretty much everybody knows about Jesus. And we've got to be ready, because the other side is really hitting hard. The Muslims are coming out now saying the Jews never had anything to do with the Temple Mount. That should never be there. That should be 100% Muslim. That's their holiest site, or second holiest site. And that the Jews just need to walk away and give it up. It's all a complete lie. We have the retaining walls of the Herod Temple. We have historical proof of that. Some of their early documentation showed that it was a Jewish holy site. And what they have inside the Temple Mount, or inside the Dome of the Rock, is a 12-column structure that you can't see because they put that facade on the outside. Who has reason to have a 12-column structure? Not the Muslims, just the Jews. So they're going to hit hard, and they've got the media to back them. And a lot of them are panicking too, because they're realizing that there's an opportunity coming that they're going to have to jump at, and it's dangerous. We've got more countries looking at joining NATO, which ought to put a scare in Russia and anybody else. You can't use your only backup plan as a nuke. There's enough nukes in the world that we could eliminate the entire world population. That's not a backup plan. That's a plan of desperation. And we have some people that are desperate. Fortunately, not a lot, but there are a few. We've got to, trust that God will take care of us. not to be afraid, ever. We can be concerned, but never afraid. If I'm doing something for the first time, I'm concerned. I'm micromanaging myself where I probably shouldn't. We do better when we just go with our gut feeling on things. It's like detectives when they're investigating a crime. Go with your first thought. What did you see? It's the talking to witnesses. People see different things. You can have 4 witnesses see 4 different things looking at the same item, but typically what you see the first time is the impression that they want, and that goes with everything. So when we're talking to people that want to know what's coming up, what's going on, we can, without frightening them to the point that they run away, talk to them about it, but show them the good side, not the bad side. The bad side will reveal itself in time, and we won't have to say a word about it. But we're trying to get the word out now. And even if they don't go with us in the rapture, if they've got something to take with them into the tribulation time frame, it would be beneficial to everybody. They won't have the Spirit in them, coaxing them. And if there's a bunch of Christians gone from the world, there's not going to be a lot of witnessing going on. It's going to be between them and God directly. You can be arrogant up to a point. You can have courage up to a point. But when you see everything collapsing around you and there's nothing you can do about it, only one place to turn, God knows what He's doing. I can hear some geese. You hear the birds around me, but every once in a while I hear some geese. There's a couple of lakes by here that they fly into. I just love this out here. I'm seeing the birds now. There's not as many chirping in the morning like there was, but I see birds coming out foraging. We're almost past the springtime courtships out here that now they got to go on with their life again. Someone's built a nest. There may already be eggs in it at this point. But all the birds are out on the ground. It's early in the morning. The sun hasn't broken through the clouds yet. So they're looking for worms. If I felt like fishing, I'd go join them, but I'll wait till I get back to a lake again. I'm having some issues myself trying to figure out how I'm going to continue doing this. I moved out of my apartment and was staying with my son so that I could help him. Well, he's out of the country now, and I'm helping take care of his cats, but I don't want to be housebound and sit around there, so that's why I'm here. The problem is I want to go traveling a little bit further north. I can't get too far away from his place. And I need to be able to find a place that I can stay on the weekend. The place I'm at is a good place to stay, but it's very close to home. And it's almost like going in my backyard. It's not, or my son's backyard. I want to be able to travel up north into the mountains, but then I'd be too far away from Wi-Fi and too far away from the place to stay. There's so many people traveling right now. It is impossible for the economic numbers to be the place where they are, where they're claimed to be, because there's too many people not working. And you know how the unemployment numbers work. They count the people that file for claims. What if you don't file for claim? Back when they were paying people to sit home, they didn't count those as unemployed. And if you're not looking for work, if you've given up and you're doing something else, they take you off the list. So the numbers are never going to be right. They've always been like that, no matter who's been in charge. They've always played with the numbers. I don't think our economy could hold up the rich people right now are holding up the economy, not the middle class as much as they would like. That's why they're spending so much money. I haven't heard back on how our government's going to handle cryptocurrency, but they're supposed to be talking about that this next week. I don't know. There's nothing we can do, so we just look at it and laugh at these people who are trying to look powerful. Because that's all they're doing, is looking powerful. No matter how powerful they look, God's always going to be more powerful, always a step ahead. The Antichrist is chomping at the bit, ready to get going. We're going to start seeing some stuff break real soon. Certainly this year, there's going to be some major battles. Hopefully we don't have to watch them down here, but if we do, we're going to be in a safe spot. But we've got to assume that if we're dealing with the world, God is going to have to take care of every place. There can't be major conflicts in one area and God ignore them. He's going to have to pull off the whole world. If there's a war going on, a World War III, then that affects everybody. And we will have to be out of here for that. Skirmishes like the Ukraine stuff, it's bad for them. But why is he leaving them behind? You know, we're not going off by territory. The Middle East and Europe first, and then we get to the United States last because we're safe. You know, we're all going together. So what's going to be it's going to have to be a worldwide trigger. It just can't be a local thing. And the trigger could be just the start of it. If you pop a balloon and there's another balloon next to it, sometimes it goes too. So there's going to be something coming up that we're not anticipating. Nobody is, because nobody's panicking yet. Not on a global scale. But the countries that are trying to get into NATO right now see that they're going to need protection. They're looking into the future, and they don't like it. And NATO isn't the end all. A NATO war is not a organized war. Put it in a baseball term, it's like an all-star game. You may have some really great players, but they haven't played together before. Teamwork is important. So keep an eye out. A reminder that I'm going to try to do my live video. I got to go pick up a piece of equipment out of storage that I need to boost my signal. But we're going to do some all-night watches coming up live if I can do it, or at least live with the video. Sometimes I can still get a signal up, but not all of it. But we're going to try a live video somewhere between the 13th and the 16th, maybe inclusive. I don't know yet. Depends on how things look. I might have to actually break down and get inside so I've got good Wi-Fi. And I've got a storm coming in now. That's why we're still overcast. I never know what I'm going to get. I don't know that God would hold back the rains for 4 days if we're going to do something like that. He could. Okay. Like I said, I'm getting a lot more attention, and it's easier to talk to people now about global situations and about what could be coming. Economic collapse. The bond market is struggling. It's usually a safe haven when everything else is chaotic. Economists are predicting an adjustment. I like the way they talk. They don't want to ever say, I'm predicting a complete collapse of the economy. Because just the statement from a well-known economist could actually cause it. So they got to be careful what words they use. So we're going to get an adjustment. It's like when you're going to tell your kids they're going to get an attitude adjustment if they don't knock it off. Okay, well, we're going to have one pretty big pretty soon. I think that, whatever's going to happen big is certainly going to happen before the election, because the election is going to change things. It's going to change things big because they're going to have to make something come up big enough to get your mind off of it. And an election, especially with our current administration, is a big thing. So they're going to have to find something bigger. Keep prepping, because we don't know. I mean, you may only have to use your prep stores for a month, but that's a long time to go without eating. Because if the economy collapses, there's going to be a rush to the market, rush to the banks. Maybe the money won't be worth anything. You go in to buy a loaf of bread and it does cost you a day's wage. Cryptocurrency is going to come out, and it's going to be a saving currency. It's not going to be, we're just going to decide to just switch to this. The dollar will have to collapse first, then they can come up with cryptocurrency, make it the new baseline, and they're going to have to give everybody some new baseline money to spend. They're not going to require you to do any allegiance initially with it, but it's going to be in place. So I don't think we're going to starve to death soon, but the people after us might. So like I say, leave the Bible where they can see it, leave tracts around. We're not going to be here to tell them anything, so just leave all the clues. All right. I think I'm going to wrap up now. I'm tired from yesterday. When I do work, it's a long day, over 12 hours. It takes forever to make a video of any kind. I mean, this is real time, and all I'm doing is talking. But when you've got, 7 or 8 people on set, and each one's got their dialogue, and you got to change the camera angle. So I don't change my camera angle very much unless I'm walking. It's a lot of work. And it used to be very entertaining, but now it's all, so much of it is questionable. Now, I'm still focusing on my independent films right now, so I know the people I'm working with, I know what they're doing, and they're okay. But I've cut back on my major work because I don't know what their agenda is. And there's 2 attacks going on. A frontal attack and an around the corner attack, which continues even when the frontal attack stops. Look at that man behind the curtain. Keep praying for our brethren. We're seeing a lot more comments about, I'm having trouble, I need help. Pray for these people. As a group, if we pray, we definitely have authority in heaven. 2 or more is all it means, all it needs, but he just started it there. He didn't finish. If you can get 100,000 people praying, that would have a lot more power and influence than 2 people. Now, Jesus has the same power, but we need to make sure that we're doing what God wants us to do, and that's spreading the word, and that will please him so greatly that he'd be happy to help. Okay. Until we meet in the clouds, God bless.